And when we think with that mindset, and we're so people focused, those relationships, once again, are what keep people coming back.
Are you looking for a way to drive growth, sales, communication, and retention in your academy? Kovar Systems 6-month Program Director course is designed to help members of your team thrive in the important role of Program Director. With step-by-step training, we will cover a wide range of topics, including prospect follow-up, overcoming objection, and securing enrollments. Our program will teach your team members to effectively communicate the values and benefits of martial arts, which can be a game changer in securing more enrollments at your academy. Our next 6-month course starts on this date, so don't wait and visit our site www.kovarsystems.com to get your team enrolled in the upcoming course. Again, that's www.kovarsystems.com. Enroll now and get ready to see some real results in your business.
Welcome to the Satori Lifestyle Satori Masters Podcast, the ultimate resource for ambitious, hardworking school owners that want to get their business and their life to the next level. My name is Dave Kovar. I'm a lifetime martial artist, business owner, speaker, and author. My goal is to empower listeners with the knowledge and the tools they need to break through barriers and really get their business and their life to the next level. Thanks for watching and enjoy. Welcome to the Satori Lifestyle Satori Masters Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kovar, and with me today is Master Jason Flame. How are you, sir?
I am so excited to be here and have this conversation with you today.
All right. Well, vice versa. You know, we've known each other a while now, man. Time goes by.
It has gone quick.
Yes, no doubt. And you've done so much in the industry. And kind of what I thought, what is kind of unique is that I was privileged last summer, I believe, to go down to your place and to work with your team a little bit. And what really stuck out, I always knew you're a good guy. And you knew what you were doing, but what really stuck out is that, man, you just like own that community. So first off, just a little background, we show up, we're a little early. So what do? I get a tour of the school, and then you take me to your restaurant where I have this amazing meal. And by the way, I'm served by your daughter who is working at that place. That was great. Kind of a country breakfast and lunch place. What's it called?
Yes, it's called Country Harvest.
Yeah. Country Harvest, great food. It was just packed. I think it was like a Saturday or Sunday morning. I don't remember, but the place was just packed. And then after our instructor training, then you go, hey, you want some ice cream? We went down 3 doors down to your ice cream shop.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're so involved in the community. Give me an idea of the different, or what's the group that you really participate in your community?
So, we participate, my wife and I participate in a lot of community service. And I think like when you say that we own the community, that really makes me proud, because one of the things that I always strive to do is to be involved in our community, to give back. I come from a background where I got martial arts classes for free because my instructor helped me out. And so I always wanted to find those ways to be able to give back to other people. And so we are members of our Moore Park Morning Rotary Club. We are members and board members of our Moore Park Chamber of Commerce. We have created several hometown community events. One, my wife loves Christmas, so she and I and
your wife is the creator of Christmas.
Oh,
that
no,
is
not
so
the
good. Wow. Okay, no, I'm kidding.
the creative. She loves Christmas, but she created a Christmas event.
Wow.
Right. And this Christmas event is called Holiday on High Street. And it's just something that it started like the first year with a couple people that we had dinner, and we literally wrote down plans on a napkin, and so we created this event that had a couple thousand people the first year, and then it just spawned. Now the last year we had over 10,000 people. And so bringing the community together is such an important piece of what my wife and our family really does here. So I'm really proud that's something that you noticed right out of the gate.
100%. And there's so much I want to questions I want to ask you. But first off, it's unfair. I did not give everybody a bit of a background. So tell me a little bit about, how long you've been in school, how long you've been in business,
Sure.
Where your school is located, give us some meat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I opened my martial arts school. Well, I'll back up a little bit. I started martial arts Tong Sudo in 1985 with Dennis Ichikawa, is my original instructor. And I started at a rec center, and that's how I got introduced to it. Then, kind of got hooked and pulled over to the karate school, and ended up doing some teaching at about 16, 17 years old when I earned my black belt in 1991. I was so just I just loved what martial arts was all about. I loved the mentors and the role models that I had as martial arts instructors, and thought that opening a martial arts school would just be a dream. I ended up starting a recreation center program myself because that was the only way that I knew how to
Got
start
it.
a school. That's how I got started. So I
Sure.
started at the rec center in 94 here in Moore Park, California. And within a year and a half, we built up enough students that I could officially afford the rent. And so we opened in 96. And so I've been teaching, and we opened our school and been teaching ever since.
Wow. So 30 years you've been doing this.
Yes, sir.
That's so awesome. Okay, so along the way, there's a lot. You've certainly identified a lot of things that work and some that didn't. But
Yes.
somewhere, you had this desire to give back to the community. But I'd like to I'm curious, how you're not doing it for this reason. You're doing it to serve the community. I get it. That like that's the right thing to do. But I
Mhm.
gotta figure it's also been good for your business.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
So take us through the connection. How, you're out there serving, you're part of the Rotary, you're part of the Chamber of Commerce, you're doing a Christmas event, which you love to do, but how has it helped your business as well?
well, I think, one of the things that my father said to me very early on is it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Okay.
And my dad was the guy that, he shook hands with everybody. He knew everybody in our hometown. He had a connection, a hookup, and he just had it seemed like everywhere he went, he was friends with everybody. This guy does this and this guy does that, and it just always seemed to come together. And they always would refer each other business. And I think I just learned that at a really young age that you know meeting people and meeting the right people helps us get moving in the right direction. I mean, at the end of the day, really, truly, our martial arts business is built upon relationships. The
100%.
students that have been with us the longest have the strongest relationship. That's not a mystery. And so I just think that taking that out into the community, and anybody that follows me on social media or watches how we promote our school, um, sometimes you'd think that my Facebook page wasn't even about a martial arts school, because I'm always posting pictures of our kids, doing stuff at school, or my kids who are the instructors at our school are going out and spending time with the kids. And I just think that that's so important. I think that building relationships is really been the key.
Yeah, you do such a good job of it. It's kind of like you've heard me share this quote many, many times. Martial arts first, teaching second, business third. And when I talk about martial arts, it's not just about kicking and punching. It's about, the whole word samurai means to serve. It's the
Yes.
service mindset, right? So what can you do to kind of bring that martial arts lifestyle into your community? You've done a great job with that. So let's just say that, man, I've had a hard time I getting through COVID. I was doing okay. COVID came along, set me
Hmm.
back a lot. I'm a little disillusioned and I'm wondering, what am I doing? Man, maybe I should go sell cars, or maybe I should go back to school, or what would you tell that person?
Well, I would tell that person, number one, why are you teaching martial arts? What is it that really drives you, and where does that passion burn inside of you? And if you can show others that passion, I think that it's just contagious, right? So getting out in the community, and whether it's visiting schools, or going to different businesses and creating relationships. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce was really kind of a big turning point for me, is being able to educate people on what we do. I think that's where people struggle the most, is why take martial arts?
Right.
Everybody sees the kicking and the punching and the board breaking or the sparring or the grappling, whatever, but what they don't realize is all of the life changing skills, leadership, confidence, teaching people that we teach, or educating people that we teach our students to go out and serve. And so I think it's just getting yourself out there in front of people. I mean, social media is the greatest tool for us to be able to get out there and spread it, because you can remember back in the early days how many of us went out and put flyers on
Sure.
every car,
Sure.
right? And just trying to get the word out, and trying to let everybody know who we are, where we are, what we do, and why we do it. And so I think that those are some really key things.
Yeah, so I think you touched on something I want to kind of expand upon a little bit, and that is to me, it's knowing your why. For like most people, if they become burned out, it's
Hmm.
because they lost sight of their vision. You know what I'm saying? They're get
Right.
they kind of, and always try to stress with my team and also myself, I have a whole file of letters, thank you notes from parents from
Hmm.
generations. And now a lot of, not just a file, like I have a whole file on my computer of emails
Hmm.
that I will go through quite frequently, like literally probably several times a year. I'll pull, and I've got a half dozen ones that are special to me that I'll read through and I'll really try to hear their words.
Hmm.
And it just reminds me about what it is that we do, and it makes it easier for me to step out on, and deal with the challenges that we certainly have to deal with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And something we do in our team meetings, every week, Monday nights, we sit down, and one of the key things that I try to pull out of everybody is, you know, who did you talk to this week, and what are their struggles and what are their successes? And the more we can talk about that, I think, it keeps us on track. Sometimes
100%.
we'll be teaching, and for the business owners out there, we often hear a lot of complaints, a lot of gripes, a lot of challenges, you know uh, but when we get those really good reviews, or we get that really good conversation, I think that needs to be talked about a lot. And I just this past week was talking about, every every day, every moment, every interaction, every time that we're with a student is a make or break moment. And the conversations that we have
Mhm.
really go a long way. And funny enough, your progress check that we've talked about, going through the eight
Right.
steps, we review that often. I mean, we really do. And I think that having those conversations keeps us in tune and keeps us in touch with our students, because sometimes, mm, we get focused on the numbers, and we get focused on the income, and we might lose sight of the people. And I think that, when you keep in touch with the people, everything else seems to just kind of flow
Man,
nicely.
of course, you got to charge a fair price and you have to bill on time and all those things, of
Yep.
course. But I couldn't agree with you more. Like if you really focus on those relationships, and something you said reminded me of something that I do often when I'm doing instructors training, and that is that to make people understand that there's no ordinary moments, and every interaction you have with a student could be that turnaround moment.
Yes.
And how many times have you had a student show up to class that's losing interest? They came to class because they committed to it and they don't really want to be there. And you walk
Hmm.
over and you look them in the eye and you really see them, you know what I mean? And you
Hmm.
talk to them and you walk off and do your thing. And you, unbeknownst to you, that was that turnaround moment that got
Right.
them back and if we were to step on the floor and do that every class, everything would be better. So I imagine, I don't know the number, my guess, and I bet you would agree with me that at any given time, 10 to 20% of your student body's losing interest.
Hmm.
Would you say that's a fair guess?
I think that's very fair.
So if you have a group of 20 people, that means there's 3 or 4 people that are like one mediocre class away from not coming back, right?
That's right.
Or
That's right.
one missed interaction away from not coming back. And if we can, that's why all the steps that well, and I do too, like the 3 by 3 rule. Can I make it a point every time shows up to class to make sure that they know I know they're there and have a
That's right.
meaningful interaction with them, hopefully a couple times, because that's the thing that keeps them coming back one more time.
Well, it goes back to, the instructor's creed. When we say, I will teach this class as if it's the most important class I'll ever teach. I will treat this conversation as if it's the most important conversation. I will treat this moment as if it's the most important moment. And when we think with that mindset, and we're so people focused, those relationships, once again, are what keep people coming back time and time again. They're going to
So
come back for that
yeah,
before they're
well,
going to come back for the kicking and the punching.
so there's in the Japanese tea ceremony, there's a phrase called ichigo ichi. And ichigo ichi roughly translated, I'm sure I'm messing with the pronunciation, but basically what it means is one chance, one encounter. And what that means is this is the only time on um, August 28th that I have a chance to speak with you.
Ready to elevate your martial arts teaching skills to the next level? Join us for the next Kovar's Instructor Bootcamp. Learn from experienced martial arts trainers through interactive workshops, dynamic demonstrations, and hands-on training. Refine your teaching strategies, enhance your communication skills, and deepen your understanding of how to lead a successful martial arts class. Enrolling you and your team will emphasize personal growth and leadership skills, empowering them to become more confident and capable leaders. This, in turn, boosts your school's reputation, attracts new students, and contributes to long-term success of your academy. Don't miss this chance to take your teaching skills to new heights. Register now and take your martial arts teaching skills to the next level.
And I owe it to you to give you my spirit. I owe it to you to be present focused. That's what you're talking about there.
Mhm.
Like to make and it sounds so cliche, but man, does it make a difference in your what your business. And also, of course, starting with your team, right? I'm sure you've got some systems which we can transition it. You've got a great team. Of course, you have your kids involved in the school, but you have
Mhm.
a lot of other people involved. What are some of the keys to you to for you to have the longevity that you had with the people that help you?
You know, I have to say, well, number one, I got to say it's so cool to have both of my kids actually now fully on the team. My son they both started when they were little, and they've come up in the school, and I never forced it on him to want to teach. As a matter of fact, I kind of wrote it off like maybe he wasn't going to, and then he kind of just found his way into the school. And just recently, my daughter has gotten involved in the feeling in the school. When we're running it as a family, and treating it like a family, it's just such an amazing thing. But I would say what really has helped us a ton is having a consistent, constant leadership training program. I've told you many times that still to this day do we use your career training program that we purchased from Maya way back, 15, 20 years
The
ago.
Mac manual. Yep, back
Yeah,
in the day. Yep.
and we still use that as a 12-week program that repeats on loop every 3 months. And we've done a lot of different things with it. We used to charge extra for leadership. We used to make it by invite only. And recently, in the last year or so even, I just decided that anybody that's in middle school, anybody going into 6th grade, was going to be eligible to come to leadership training, as part of their program. And I've seen it just shift to where, like, all these, because which kids do we kind of lose the most? Like that middle school to high school age
Yeah.
they don't have something. So I said, well,
Yep.
leadership training is something that they need, and leadership, especially with our current climate and
Sure.
just our social settings, there's far more following than we have leadership, and we need strong leadership. And I'm like, well, we need that in our school. And so I've continued that over the years of building up that leadership training program. And that makes it very easy for us to hire, a 14, 15, 16-year-old to start as an assistant instructor. They build their way up into teaching their own classes, to becoming the head instructor, and then eventually kind of more or less managing the school. So our leadership training program has really uh, changed everything for us, as being able to have a staff and to have systems. The training guide is already there for us, but then on the business side, we have a whole nother, group of trainings that we go through.
Well, I'll tell you, it's like it's so cool to see the industry because so many people that I know and are gravitating towards, really having a more systematized approach to leadership. Our program is called TNT. It's a
Hmm.
leadership program. But what's interesting is we know most of these people are not going to end up running a martial arts school working for us. But
Right.
what valuable skills that we can, when they're young and moldable, and also that age group, they need us, man. I was at the school a couple nights ago. I do a once at one of our locations. I do a once a month class for advanced degree black belts that are not staff members. These are people that have been with us forever that don't,
Hmm.
that have been around and and so I did it at our headquarters school at Carmichael, and the class is at 6 o'clock, and I am coming going anyway. Bottom line is I'm in the lobby, walking through, and there's probably 15 kids ages 11, 12 to 16 that are all hanging out, ready, waiting
Hmm.
for their class. It's not even a go start for way early, not for another
Right.
half hour, 45 minutes. But this is their place. You know what I'm saying? And I love
Right.
seeing it. It's like this is uh, their place to where we're creating this environment where that you could still be cool, but it's not let's go smoke cigarettes and break into cars cool. Let's train hard, but let's be
Right.
light and courteous and do well in school. It's a what a great environment. I mean, I don't have to tell that to you, but I think every kid should do martial arts.
Absolutely. I mean, growing up, I never received a Letterman jacket for playing sports in school, but I remember, when my instructor introduced, a school jacket, and we got to wear, and like it was like this core group of people, ordered this jacket. We all wore them, and you felt like you belonged to something. And how often do we hear students come to us at any age, and we've tried team sports and it didn't really work out for them, but you know martial arts, they just really gravitated towards that. And I think that there's something just amazing about martial arts, that even though we train for our own individual gains, and you know nobody's helping you get that belt necessarily, you're doing the work, but you have the support system of those people around you that are on your team, and your instructors are on your team. And I totally agree that it's kind of awesome to see teenagers hanging out at the karate
Yep.
school, helping with classes,
Yep.
doing all the odds and ends, the little things, even just taking a minute to hang out with one of the younger students, because those younger students really look up to those teens as their heroes and their idols. I know I did for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, it's like I was that kid that grew up. My instructor used to, have to kick me out at night and on weekends. And I remember that it was. I heard this. I can't tell you how many times I heard this. Kovar, you don't have to go home. You just have to get out of here. That was the line. That was my. And but it's so seeing that. So I so much appreciate people being involved in it. Now I want to switch gears. You have a hobby. I thought I'd bring up.
Here we go.
Yeah. How are you on the side when you can? I'm guessing maybe you haven't been able to have the time lately, but you're
Mhm.
also a pro wrestler.
I am, or
Talk us through that a little bit. I think, by the way, I think it's really cool. I think it's really
it
cool.
it is. So I grew up like, a lot of kids loving pro wrestling, Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and all those guys, WWF, WWE. I just loved it. And I remember at one point I told myself that I wanted to be a pro wrestler as my career, and being a martial arts school owner would be like when I was in town and when I was still here. I
Okay.
would have a side business, right? I was like, I
Okay.
think I could do both of this.
Okay.
I remember going to my girlfriend, who is my wife now, and saying, I really want to pursue this wrestling thing. And so, long story short, I ended up contacting someone that was the promoter for a wrestling promotion, and tried to find out, how do I train to be a wrestler? And it was before we would email back and forth. I had to send letters to him, and then I'd get a phone call back. And it was the school where John Cena trained, Ultimate Pro Wrestling. And so I get a couple of friends to go with me, and I'm all psyched up, I'm all excited, and I get there, and I'm watching, I'm looking at what's going on, and these guys are massive and just totally athletic. And so the instructor, who I later interviewed on my podcast, which was fun, he said, "Are you here to train?" And I said, I'm just here to watch." And so, I was like, I think I was probably like 26 at the time. So I kind of backed out. I chickened out, and like, I don't know, 10, 15 years later, how at 38 years old, so it's 12 years later, I end up getting a phone call from someone who is a promoter for a wrestling promotion. He says, "How would you like to promote your martial arts school?" Because he had heard about our school doing demos and going out in the community, and it happened to be at the Boys and Girls Club. And he said, "Why don't you come down and promote your school?" So we did. He introduced me to the owner of the promotion. He said, "Have you ever thought about training in pro wrestling?" He's like, "I watched you perform today. You're pretty athletic." And I said, and I told him the backstory. And he said, "Well, here's our school. We're in Chatsworth. Come check it out." So I did. I met my trainer, Seth Skyfire, who was a wrestler for WWE Developmental at the time, OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. And so I trained for about 6 months, had my first, and then the promotion shut down for a little bit. And I said, "Well, there's this empty unit next to our karate school at the time. We were in a different location." I called the owner and I said, "Can I borrow your ring, or can we use your ring, or do you want to partner up?" I said, like, "I think we could have a wrestling school here in Moore Park." Well, we did, came to Moore Park, and it just took off. I was wrestling like every single day. And then we had shows every Friday night for a couple years. And then landlord, raise the rent, whatever, and we decided to shut down. Then it reopened in Chatsworth again, and they're still running. It's been a little while since I've wrestled. I think it's been almost a year since I've had my last match. I still miss it every single day, but it's 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 so fun. It was so fun to perform. It was so fun to get out there and do it.
That's so cool. I think it's just how many people can say that, you know?
Well, the thing is and this is the story, right? Is that I had a dream of being a pro wrestler, and I had a chance, and we've all had these chances or these opportunities, and we pass it up for whatever reason, or we just don't commit. And then I had a second chance, and I told myself, I am not letting this one go again. I've got to grab this and run with it, because I may never get a chance to ever do it again. And I really got to live a dream, something that I had dreamed of as a kid, and wrestle for, I had 100 plus matches, which is not a lot, considering how many matches most of the guys have. But 100 professional wrestling matches.
Yeah,
It
that's a
was a
lot of
dream.
matches. So I got to ask, I think because I've never actually seen you wrestle, I'm
Yeah.
assuming you're a good guy.
I As much as I wanted to try to be a bad guy,
It just didn't work for you.
well, they wouldn't let me. They told me, they're like, you could never be a bad guy. Like,
Exactly,
you're a
exactly.
karate
You,
guy.
you
Like,
you could never be a bad guy. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's great, man.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you making time out of your busy schedule to be on the show here, and I appreciate your friendship, and I hope the viewers got a chance to get to know you a little bit better. And
Thank you.
if anybody want to get a hold of you for anything, what would be your contact information? What's your email address?
Email address, you can reach me at tsdukarate@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, just simply Jason Flame or Master Jason Flame.
And are you still doing your podcast?
Right now, I'm on a little bit of a hiatus,
But
but
it'll be
I'll be
back. I know
back.
you did several, like a couple hundred episodes or
I
something.
had
You did,
about 200 and
yeah, crazy.
250, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm
Well,
looking forward to coming back, doing it
I got
again.
it when the time is right. All right, man. Well, I wish you the best. I appreciate you being on the show, and take care.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in today to our podcast. I hope you found it valuable and inspirational. To stay connected, please subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you go for your podcasts. If you enjoyed today's show, please give us a 5-star review. And we really sincerely would appreciate some feedback. Your feedback helps us to create high quality content that will help others in the future. If you'd like to follow me, you can go to Dave Kovar on Facebook or Haunchie Dave Kovar on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on next episode.